Naomi and I were married for 5 years. We have two kids, and yeah, we're living good. Everything was going on well. Because I was into importation, I import goods and sell commodities from China. For this period of time, we were living good. There was money now, so everything was going on well. Happily, we watched our kids grow until towards the end of 2017. Yeah, 2017. Towards the end, I think September, October, I can't remember now. Things started going crazy. Because then I decided to expand my business. So I invested a very large portion of my entire money into the business because I wanted to have more expanded business. But unfortunately for me, things didn't go the way I planned it. At some point, we were struggling, to feed. 3 square meal was becoming difficult for us. We went further to change our kids. We had to change them to a different school so we can be able to reduce costs. Luckily for me, I had actually built my own house, so we weren't living on rent anymore. So the situation of the way things were going then, I was really getting frustrated with everything. We're feeding from. At some point, the business went so down that we started feeding from the proceeds of my wife's shop because earlier we had established a grocery store for her. So we got to the time where she was basically the financial support of the family, even down to feeding. So one night, my longtime friend, way back in the uni, who is now staying in Brazil, gave me a call. I was so happy to hear from him. We talked for quite a long time. We spoke. Guys, we had to refresh back memories. We needed to catch up with OGs. We talked about family, business, and all of that. So I needed to explain the situation I was in. He made a suggestion that I could come over to Brazil. He was saying I could come over to Brazil and work for some time to see if I can, gain back financial strength. Luckily for me, early 2018, I was able to make adequate preparation for that trip. So I flew out of the country to join my wife, my friend now, in search for greener pasture. I got to Brazil and of course, I went for hustle. So the hustle started as soon as possible because what occupied my mind majorly was my family. So I worked for 2 years, and I would say that within that 2 years, I got favor from God and life seemed to change. I started sending my wife money after 3 months, which was enough to take care of the family as at that time. So I continued that every single month. There's no month, I can't remember that I didn't send money to my wife and to take care of my kids. Of course, why was I even working in the first place? They were the reason why I traveled out. They were the reason why I'm working hard. So I was doing this. I was so faithfully doing this every single month. One day I got a text from my neighbor by Facebook Messenger with something shocking, very shocking information that totally shattered my life. I had this neighbor whom I was doing a job contribution with when I was in Nigeria. So one day she chatted me up because she heard I was out of the country. And she wanted to know if I was interested in starting up another contribution. When I came, it was on Facebook so when I came on Facebook, I saw her chat. I had to call her back and we talked. Well, after the call, she said, "Congratulations, oh. I hope this time around God will give you a baby boy." I had two kids, like I shared earlier, two girls actually. I was confused. I was like, how? And she was like, "I mean, you're a pregnant wife now." I didn't know what to believe at that time. I had to pause for a while, trying to process the information I'd gotten. Now I'm pregnant. How? I'd spent like 2 years in Brazil. But at that moment, I pretended to understand what she was saying, and I thanked her and cut the call. Believe me, at this point, I was driven beyond crazy. So I decided to make a video call with my wife to balance the whole equation. Sometimes when we make video calls, I demand that she wear something slim and sexy, to which she always oblige. So I don't remember any single day that she turned down the request. So I did the same thing when I called her this time around. I demanded that she put on something slim, that I'd love to see her body. But she refused. She gave some excuses on why she couldn't change at that moment. I was swollen in anger and couldn't hold it anymore. So I asked her, "Naomi, are you pregnant?" She looked at me surprised and didn't speak for some minutes. I knew at that point that it was true, and she was trying to find out how I got to know. After mumbling some words that I couldn't even understand, she denied it. I nodded my head and told her to show me her birth stomach. She cut the call. I called her back, but she refused to pick up. Naomi didn't take my call for the next couple of days. So, a few weeks later, I flew back to the country to clear this whole mess. I intended to confront her, but upon getting to my house, I found nobody. My wife had left with my kids, cleared up all her things, and disappeared. The funny thing is that my gate man was also gone. My gate was unlocked when I returned from Brazil. Both my wife and the gate man were nowhere to be found. Their mobile numbers were switched off. I reached out to Naomi's family, but she was not even in her parents' house. Neither did any of her siblings even agree that they had seen Naomi. So I visited her best friend Aisha to ask. She also confirmed to me that my wife Naomi was actually pregnant, and they had misunderstanding because my wife insulted her when this same Aisha had confronted her earlier about her pregnancy. When I told her that my gate man was also missing, she said, "No wonder," because she said she was wondering why Naomi suddenly became fond of the gate man. These are things I never knew. The only thing she left was a note on my bed which read, "Sorry, I couldn't bear the shame. I love you." It's been over a year now, and I have no idea about Naomi's whereabouts or my children. My question is, if it is true that my gate man got my wife pregnant, for how long has this been happening? My gate man has worked for me even before I got married to my wife. My two children, are they really mine? My life as I knew it is ended.